Good afternoon, warriors. Bear with me today. My vision is extra bad. This story is from Sandra F. I am a retired ICU nurse with 50 years of nursing behind me. I lived remote while growing up and was bitten, scratched, and stung by animals and bugs. I was treated for all my chronic issues with pharmaceuticals, which were only band-aids. 35 years ago, I had a tick bite and bullseye while golfing, and nothing was recognized then. So now I have chronic Lyme, which will not produce antibodies, and have been gaslit by the CDC, Control of Infectious Disease doctor here in Ontario. I live remote again, as I wanted to come home. The nearest LLMD is quite a distance to travel, so I have been researching and finding my own path. I am improving, but have not found my former self. I am very active, so this is hard for me. I play violin for a symphony and 2 other groups. I am ashamed of the medical profession and feel sad that I may have contributed to the lies. I wrote exams and updates yearly to work in the ICU, and I think it should be compulsory for doctors to do the same thing. The problem being they only know what they have been taught. Some do research and some do not, but regardless, they have been misinformed. I also tested negative with the blot. I do know that I have, regardless of their gaslighting. I will probably die with this. I will fight until I do. Sending love, hope, and healing for all of us experiencing this horrible infliction. I'm so sorry, Sandra, that you've had it for so long and that it did go unrecognized. I think the biggest thing I want to hit on in Sandra's story is here is a medical professional who's worked in an ICU for how many years? And I also dated an RN that worked in the ICU for years. Most people still don't know about Lyme disease, and she's right. Doctors don't know what they don't know because they're not taught about it. But what does that tell us? That there are so many people, she's in Canada, but there are so many people in the United States, Canada, Australia that have this disease, yet our doctors aren't being educated on how to treat it. Does that not seem crazy to anybody else when there are more cases of Lyme disease than pretty much all the other major neurological diseases combined? I mean, why is it 15 years ago minimum they should have started training differently in medical schools, and they haven't? So if doctors aren't naturally curious human beings that keep up on their continuing ed and keep looking for those root causes, we don't get diagnosed. There are so many people undiagnosed with this disease. And she experienced the bullseye rash. Some people don't experience the bullseye rash. Sometimes this thing feels so daunting, like we are never going to make enough traction for this to be changed. And, you know, when we're screaming and telling our stories, like we're not looking for sympathy from you. That's not what this is about. We are trying to save you or your children or your family or your parents or your best friend from going through the same pain, or at least you will recognize from these stories the symptoms, and hopefully you will catch their Lyme disease faster than we caught ours, and you won't have as much damage to your body. The sooner you treat Lyme disease, the better your chances are at recovery. The longer it goes, the harder it is to treat. It gets really, really hard to treat. So let this be a warning to everybody. You know, if you see some of those signs or symptoms in somebody, let them know, hey, I think that could be Lyme disease. You might want to look into that, because that's how a lot of us got diagnosed. A lot of us. And then she also talked about her body no longer creates the antibody. My best friend that also has this disease, her body does the same thing. That eliminates certain treatments that they can do. The testing should be more advanced than that anyway. The lack of testing that we have is ridiculous as well. And it's, you know, outdated, and it's not very accurate. And the whole system is just a sad state of affairs. You know, if any medical professionals or medical advocates or, you know, senators or congressmen want to give this another stab to help us out here, we'd be really